Hello, all you marvelous people! First of all I gotta say is yes, I've been gone for a little bit, but I had some family stuff happen that I'm not really gonna talk about because it's like personal. Listen to the sound of my voice. How about this voice? You gotta be wondering where that's coming from. That's what this video is about. Music has been a huge part of my life for as long as I have been alive, pretty much. When I was 6 years old, I begged my parents to let me take guitar lessons. As it so happens, I still can play. I haven't really picked it up in a very long time, but I got the lessons and I can play since I was 6, so that's almost 20 years I've been playing the guitar. Ooh, yuck! That's a bad realization. Ooh. I was in choir for about 10 years while I was in elementary, middle, and high school. I did musicals while I was in high school and middle school for about 6 years, and I loved them. I loved getting on stage and singing. It's just been a really integral part of my life. I listen to so many different kinds of genres. I'll pull out my phone. We'll put it on shuffle real quick, and we'll see what comes up. Number 1 that comes up is I Like It, I Love It by Tim McGraw. We go immediately to Hot in Here by Nelly. And of course, Mean Mr. Mustard by the Beatles. Drops of Jupiter by Train. Nevermind by Benji Lewis. I mean, I like the 1975. Jet. We're just scooting through here, and it's just, everything is crazy. I guess it doesn't look that crazy, because I'm not getting the weirdest things up here. Childish Gambino, Led Zeppelin, Walk the Moon. I love Walk the Moon. More Led Zeppelin. Fall Out Boy. Some of my OGs. Some Marina and the Diamonds. Alright, we don't need to do this forever for you to be able to understand. All you guys need to know is that I really love music. It's kind of funny because when you go back and you look at my history of listening to music, when I was a little kid, I was listening to what my parents were listening to, which was classic rock and country. I didn't know anything else existed because I didn't know how to touch a radio. But eventually I grew up a little bit and I started listening to the top 40, so like all those popular pop songs in the 2000s, that's what I was listening to. I went through that really cool emo rock stage that most of us went through. I didn't have the hair, but I wore the band t-shirts. I was listening to Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance, A Day to Remember, and then that kind of just morphed into heavy metal. And then I went to college and I started getting into electronic music and dubstep because I didn't know it was a thing until I got to college and I started talking to people. And now I'm kind of just mellowed out at some really cool alternative music, but I listen to everything. Literally all of it goes into my ears. Well, just the fire truck came and then they came. What are you doing, Lucy? Love it when the fire marshals have to come out and save us from a burning building. Oh boy, my adrenaline pumping. Nice little interlude to the video though, isn't it? Nothing's on fire. Everything is fine. Lucy, are you scared? You don't like loud noises. That was annoying, huh? How obnoxious. Everything's okay. Back to your regular scheduled vlog. I, like many people, have had my shares of ups and downs in life, and music has always been there to kind of like coach me through all of those tough times. We all know how great music is, but I want to brag about my music experiences that I have had this last week. My voice is hoarse for a reason, guys, and I'm about to share that with you. Last Wednesday, Panic at the Disco opened up their Pray for the Wicked tour in Minneapolis, and I wanted to go really bad, but nobody was available that I could go with, and I have social anxiety, so I'm not gonna go to downtown Minneapolis all by myself and try and figure that crap out. But I luckily had a friend who I used to work with. She wrote on Facebook that she had an extra ticket and she was looking for someone to come with her, and I'm like, girl, I volunteer as tribute! Pick me! And so we met up and we went to this concert and we hung out and it was really good to see her, but oh my god, was it like actually the best concert I've ever been to. Absolutely insane how great of a show Panic at the Disco put on. I was looking at some of the tweets after the show because I wanted to relive my show experience forever. K-Artix tweeted, I saw the entirety of Panic at the Disco do an 8-foot vertical leap out of a hole. The concert was a non-stop bop. I screamed, I cried, yes I cried. I'm aware I'm a 25-year-old going to see Panic at the Disco with all these teeny boppers around, and all of them were looking at me and judging me. And I'm like, honeys, I've been listening to this band since before most of you were born. Just let me have this moment. I've always admired Brendon Urie for his voice. Obviously, he's got the voice of an angel. He was put on this earth to sing. But what I didn't know is that he also can play the piano like a champ. He can play the drums like a beast. And he also plays the guitar. This man could be a one-man band. If I'm allowed to get real for a second, I went through a really rough stage last year where I broke up with my boyfriend. I kind of kicked him out. We don't need to talk about that yet. Like I said, it's going to be a video someday. It's kind of an interesting story. But I broke up with him, and I was going through a really rough time in my life. I had some more family stuff go down that, you know, kind of changed the game for me in my life. But I listened to Death of a Bachelor like every single day. Not the song, the entire album, mind you. Pray for the Wicked came out exactly a week before another family tragedy happened, and I listened to that album on nonstop, just constantly trying to like get past it and, you know, feel the emotions correctly, but also like function in everyday life for a whole entire week before I had to go and deal with all of that. And it was just like really nice to have something to get me through that, and it's such a peppy, high energy album that like resonates with me so much. I got to go and be in the same room as Brendon Urie, and that was exciting for me. As if that wasn't enough, that was Wednesday night last week. I decided to take Friday and Monday off so that I could go for the first time to the Hodag Country Music Festival in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, which is something my family has literally been doing for like the past 20-ish years, and they're so good at being at Hodag that every single year they run down the chair line like a bunch of crazy people, and they get front row, like every year consistently. That was cool. I mean, I didn't do any of the work, but I got to go and experience these great acts from the front row. Now, this festival is huge. Rhinelander is a tiny little town in northern Wisconsin, and way off in the side of it, there's this giant grounds that probably used to be a farm, but now it's used to house 40,000 country music fans that come from all over the world to just park their camper on this giant plot of land and camp for a week and listen to music and get so drunk. It's a very different kind of experience because you actually can bring your own alcohol into the venue, which is something that you can't do anywhere else. So it's like no rules, just right. Balls to the walls, it's gonna be a party. There's a whole culture around the Hodag. See this green hanky? This is a Hodag hanky. My grandma takes like 100 of them every year. She just like gets them, and she makes like clothes out of them for my relatives to wear all the time, and it's just like the coolest thing. And she's really good at sewing, so like the stuff looks legit. My family had to get in the chair line, is what they call it, on Wednesday, which is like a mad dash down the hill to try it. Once your line gets called, you go and you slap your chairs down. It's a lot of pressure. You gotta try and get everybody that you want in there, and you set your chairs down, and it's just like chaos. There are shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from like noon till 10 o'clock at night. And there's typically like 3 to 5 acts that go on, and these are like big names in country music. It is a marathon of drinking because you don't only drink what you bring in your cooler. There's like venue places that you can go and spend money at to, you know, buy drinks there too. When I got there Thursday night, I got to see a little bit of the final act, but then we went straight into, me and my cousin and my brother, we went straight into we call it the Pavilion. We went to the Pavilion, and I think it got bad. We partied, we had fun, we danced. You come crawling out of the tent and you feel like you got hit by a truck. But the only thing that fixes it is having a little bit of breakfast and a Bloody Mary, and then right back at it. And by the end of the night, by the end of the last act, you start meeting people that you don't even know, and you're best friends already. I took a selfie with this girl named Heather. I fixed her dress, because her dress broke. And I don't know how I tied it back together, but I did. The musicians up there were super talented. A lot of them I had never heard of before, but like other ones like Toby Keith and Clint Black and Diamond Rio.
One more time, one more sunset, maybe I'd be satisfied.
Was there were like really big names that I knew from like I was a little baby and I was listening to their music on the radio because that's what I listened to when I was a little kid. There are some other good acts, like Low Cash is like low-key my new favorite band because they are so talented. They have like 7 people up on stage who can all pick up every single instrument and play it beautifully. They all sounded great. poppy country, and I dug it. It was really good. There are also quite a few interesting characters. There was a woman who dressed up in a blow-up T-Rex suit, and she ground on my leg a little bit. You know, happens. What happens at Hodag? Doesn't stay at Hodag when Taylor's a vlogger, but I have footage. And she was just hilarious. She would take a selfie with people. She'd stick her big old weird T-Rex in the camera and just like bopping around. Oh my gosh, it was a riot. She was hilarious. We called this one couple Featherhead and his wife. Featherhead and his wife. Featherhead would stand on his cooler when he would go up in front of the stage, and he would like wave and almost fall over the place. He had a broken sandal. At one point, I was opening up the cooler to like make myself a new drink, and he reached in to try and steal a LaCroix, and me and my dad both like, I mean, I could have slapped his arm, but my dad just shut the lid on his hand and smashed it in there, and he's like, buddy, get out. And he just, like, drunkenly wandered away. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't just stick your hand in a cooler. And then my parents yelled at me. They're like, you need to wait for the right time to mix a drink. People are insane here. I'm like, I'm sorry. I thought people had the common decency not to steal out of people's coolers when I'm literally inside of it. But there are these two other boys. One of them was, like, an 18-year-old boy, and he came and he whispered in my ear, and he was drunk, so that's illegal. And he's like, hey, if the security comes and asks, just tell them that we're friends from high school. I'm like, honey, I don't even think you were in elementary school when I was done with high school. I'm like, son, I graduated high school like 7 years ago. That's not gonna fly. There's so many weird people at the Hodag, but there's so many fun people too. The mood is infectious. It's impossible not to have fun at the Hodag. This music festival is obviously a tradition that my family has been doing for, 20-ish something years. I'm like, I'm 25, I might as well go for at least once. Everybody's got to go to the Hodag once. It was an experience. Long story short, I eat, sleep, and breathe music. I love experiencing music, especially live. It's just something about letting loose with an entire crowd that it has the same kind of passion for the music as you do that just gives me life. It like breathes life into me. I might be a little bit tired on my day of recoup, but I will always jump at the opportunity to go see a band live, because there's nothing like going to see a live performance of someone who takes so much passion for what they're doing and like gives it out back into the world. It's just incredible. It's an incredible experience to watch creators get to put on a show. Honestly, it's just like an opportunity to have human connection, which is something that like everybody needs to experience. That's pretty much my story. I know it's been a while since I made a video, and I'm obviously going to get back on track. I actually had a different video half-edited before all of this crazy stuff started happening, and it's going to come out probably next week. But I wanted to make this one first since all of this is really fresh in my mind, and I just wanted to experience all of it again while editing and sharing it with everybody so that I can spread the good news of all of these different events and cool stuff. Follow me in all my socials. They're all down in the links below. If you look there, I have different videos and pictures and all this other kind of stuff that you can see from like my crazy concert experiences for the last couple of days. Like, subscribe, hit that bell if you want to be notified when I make video. Share the video if you think someone would enjoy seeing little clips of live music or just watching my face and my voice sound terrible on camera. I make a new video every week. I'll put it up. I'll tweet about it. That's why you gotta follow me on all my social medias. I'm gonna go sleep some more. I'm still tired. I have not actually recovered yet. But until next time, have a wonderful week. Bye!